not just rebuilding a team on the field, but rebuilding a fan base and a culture off the field to then look at that club and say, I want to be a part of that. Welcome to Red Stars Report, a podcast dedicated to bringing the latest news and commentary on the NWSL Chicago Red Stars. If you're new to the podcast, I'm your host, LT.
And I'm Grant, and I'm your co-host.
If you've joined us before, welcome back. Our show is growing each and every week, and we really appreciate all of the kind words and feedback that everyone's been giving us. But we should just jump straight into the very important thing that has happened in Chicago that we didn't get to cover before our last episode had come out. We're, of course, talking about the signing of Mal Swanson.
The signing of the century.
The re-signing of Mal Swanson, which is incredibly important to this club.
And expensive to the club.
Very expensive. A historic contract, 4 years, with a 1-year option, the longest contract possible in the NWSL, according to the CBA. Reported by CBS Sports that the deal is more than $400,000 a year, putting that at the $2 million range across those 5 years. That's big. That's a lot of money.
Make and bank.
And obviously there was people talking about how, of course, people wanted players on other teams to, like, in their next contract, they'll get paid more. And, maybe she could have gotten more, but I don't think that's what this was about at all,
Yeah, I think, honestly, that, we're only going to see stuff continue to grow in terms of contracts. Because I remember this kind of all started. Let's see, who had the biggest contract at one point? I think it was like Kristen Press. It started off with, and then it went to Trinity Rodman.
Yeah, and then Maria Sanchez earlier this offseason.
Yeah. So, it's just gonna continue to skyrocket and go up in the millions, of course. But I'm glad that they, made this deal happen, and she's not going to freaking Louisville of all places, and she's staying in Chicago. And our team is just getting better and better, so the reassurance of her staying here for 4 years seems like we might have a championship in our future. I'm just saying. We like positivity here.
I love
this
positivity.
Is ultra positive.
I appreciate it. I like it. I like and it's just something that was expected,
Yeah.
But you just never know until you kind of hear those words, she's back.
Yeah.
And when I did see that, it was like, I was more excited than I thought I would be, because it was expected. It was reported that she was coming back. But like, once I saw those posts, once I saw those words that, Mal Swanson is re-signing with Chicago Red Stars, I was just elated. Like, such an important piece to this team. And I've talked before for the last couple of years about how it's hard to put the whole team on her. Like, when she's missing, it's like, people talk about how, they won't be able to be successful without her. And I think that's unfair, but that it almost was like that was the result, but there were more things that happened other than her not being available that led to such an unsuccessful season last year. But I just having her back especially with the lack of scoring prowess that the club had when she's off the pitch, getting that back and also her ability to be a mentor on the field
Mhm.
for these young players, these young forwards that the Red Stars have signed in the last couple of years I think will be incredibly important as well.
I think it's crazy that Mal Pugh is like considered a mentor now, even though she's so young. If people think 25 is old, then they need to get themselves checked out. But that is just crazy to me that she's been in this league this long, and these people are looking up to her. She's just straight up a baller, and with all these young forwards learning from her, I think we're going to experience Lauren Donaldson masterclass featuring Malpew.
Yeah, this she's going into her 8th year in the league as a
That's it.
25-year-old.
It's
Like,
crazy.
to put it into perspective, Jill Aguilera, who is also on that forward line, is 26, and she's going into her 3rd year in the league, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Um, but what we can do is we can talk about how we got here, how Mal got to Chicago, because that part of it, and then her wanting to stay, I think is very important
Hmm.
because the club traded for her very late 2020. So her first season was the 2021 season. They got her from Sky Blue FC before they became Gotham, and they traded 3 first round picks for her. But the club also got Sarah Waldmo in the process of that
Yeah.
trade, which at the time was very funny because like I had known who Mal was because of the national team,
Hmm.
but I wasn't like as involved in the soccer world as I am now.
Yeah.
Back then when she was kind of the talk of the US national team. And I when I saw the trade, I was very excited about Sarah Waldmo. I was like, "Oh my gosh, like we got this awesome midfielder
Hmm.
from New York." And then I've heard of this player, Mal Pugh, but she's injured right now. I was like, I don't really know what that's about. Like they're just gonna try to take a chance on her, I guess. So I wasn't sure, but I was very excited about Mal, which I think is, or I was very excited about Sarah Waldmo, which I thought was very funny
Yeah.
because now they got Sarah for a year,
Uh-huh.
um, and then she retired, and now Mal's the star of the team and star of the women's national team, and she's just absolutely thrived and blew up across the world. So
Yeah. It's just
since
it's an amazing trade when you go back and think about it too, especially when we talk about the playoffs and the only way that we beat Gotham, of course, was the Woldmo Pew
past to
connection.
yeah
Yeah.
yeah, it was like them coming from that club to then those two connecting to beat that club was just
Hmm.
very poetic. I loved it. It was it was such a cool moment. Um,
And if I may be, I know that we talk about our personalities and such and whatever off screen, but it was Carly Lloyd's last game too, and I got to witness that.
there are a lot of people
The
in
pettiness, I know.
that gets
I don't know how
very.
you feel, but
I am with you. Uh,
okay.
it's just, uh,
But that was just great. I was there for that game, and it was just so great to experience that win. Um, yeah,
yeah, there's a couple people in our community that bring up that game often, and it's very it was a very cool moment in the history of the club,
yeah,
especially with the playoff run that they were continuing and the adversity that they had faced that season with
Mhm.
Alyssa Nair being out for most of the season, Julie Ertz being out for pretty much the entire season, and to just go through that, win that game, win another, get to the NWSL championship. Like that was, you know, something that a lot of people will remember for a very long time. And having a player like Mal who was a part of that, while a lot of other people from that team aren't with the club anymore, I think is very important to at least still have a few players who have that kind of experience in their back pocket to teach the younger players like what those moments can be like, because hopefully the direction that this club is taking, especially with the confidence of keeping Mal for the next 4 to 5 years, is important, um, for their
Yeah.
future, for the future of the young talent on this team. But since that trade, she's led the team in goals. She's led the team in assists. Even with the time that she has missed, she's had some minor injuries here and there, and then this recent long-term injury that she's coming back from, and seems to be healthy and ready to go, which is great. But that injury happened in 2023 during the women's national team match against Ireland, and it caused her to miss the World Cup that season, or that year, and the rest of the NWSL season as well. And that loss was felt on both of those squads. Like, as Chicago Red Stars fans, like, we watched what that club was for almost an entire season without Mal. But as US fans, you also experienced what a team that was built around her, like her play style, what that team was like without her. And it obviously, didn't end great. Neither, both on the international or the national level and the club level. But now she's back. She's gonna kill it. Um, I think probably the most insane stat is that when she got injured, she was leading the US women's national team in goals. And by the end of that year, she still led them in goals. She
Ugh.
scored 7 in her 6 matches that year. And I don't know if that speaks more to how good she is or how bad the US was at finishing in 2023. Maybe both, but having a player like that, it's like kind of unreal to watch in both levels of soccer.
Yeah. She is a force to be reckoned with, of course, and to have her back now is just gonna be I'm so so excited to be able to watch a Chicago Red Stars game with Mal Pugh in the starting lineup. Like, I've just missed seeing her on the pitch so much because her absence was so obvious. Which isn't a discredit to people that started in her place, of
Mm-mm.
course. But she
They're just not
is
Mal, you know?
she's iconic. She's just Mal,
Yeah.
like, can't put a descriptor on her. She's
It
just that good.
She's just kind of kind of an unreal player to
Yeah.
watch play. I really hope that the midfield and the defense of the Red Stars, they really need to like fill they really need to be filled well enough to help take Mal out of those situations where she's playing all the way back in the box trying to defend when she should be up top. Like, that happened way too often in the last couple seasons.
Yeah.
And I know that she wants to do that because she wants to help, and she knows she can because even in with the position that she plays, she's also just a very good defender. Um, but even though she has done things like that box to box goal that she had against KC in like 2022, I think it was, I don't think having your best player take a ball from one box to the other is a feasible plan to win every match every single week. So let's just stay away from that this time. Even though I'll never forget that goal for as long as I live. That goal is just unreal.
Well, we do have new members of the Red Stars, or the Stars, as they're trying to make that happen. Whatever.
Let's not
But
talk about that.
well, we have new additions. If we want to
It's
segue
true.
into that, then I feel like, maybe we'll stop her from doing that on the field. But
Yeah, so that was the beginning of the week. And then the Red Stars continued their week of no losses, only gains by signing free agent Shea Groom to a 2-year contract. Move over Air Jordan because Air Groom is
Hair
in
Groom.
Chi-Town, and a player who I'm pretty sure has more goals scored with her head than with her feet in her career. I didn't look at the stats, but I was like just watching her throughout the years and watching her highlights when I was studying some of her film. I I I think I saw her score with her feet maybe 3 or 4 times. Like I don't I did everything else was with her head. It was just insane. She'll bring that like I don't know, that fierceness, that uh like get the ball in the goal mentality that I
Yeah.
think we've been missing in some spots for the last few years.
It was so unexpected to me. I don't know about you, but when I saw that she was leaving Houston, I was like, well, she's probably going to go to Kansas City, which is, such a stupid thought in my mind because they got, all these
Yeah, but she
kinds
didn't
of
used to play
midfielders,
there, so
whatever.
it's not.
Yeah. I thought maybe she would go there. So when I saw the post, I was like, oh. And then I looked at it again. I was like, well, let's go. Because she's just that type of player that has this awesome energy on the field. Um, just one of those players that I feel like will have that Chicago grit. I know that's a thing that we bring up from time to time. Um, she will also fill the void of the person that gets the most yellow cards, I feel like. But I know that, she's a great defender, whatever. You got the stats for that probably too to
She
back
also
that
gets
up.
fouled a lot. I think she
Yeah.
led the league in fouls, like like fouls being fouled in like 2021. I think she led the league in that. So it's
I feel like
important.
she was a leader for also yellow cards too, or maybe I'm thinking of.
Maybe.
But anyway, in all seriousness though, like this is just such an awesome addition that I didn't expect. And if people did expect this, I would like to know because I just it didn't feel like something that Chicago would do, but now she's here for 2 years. I believe that she just got into town
Mhm.
today,
I
and
think
she's
so.
already a fan of the food from her Instagram stories. So
I really do like this signing. It may not be like the splashiest signing,
yeah,
like you would hope, I not hope, but I just certainly I didn't see it coming outside of I was typing her name in a reply to someone who said like which available free agents would you like to see on the Red Stars? And I was just like scrolling through a list. I was like, oh, Shea Groom's a free agent. I was like, Shea Groom. And I was like, oh, wait, didn't she get injured? Like, she had like back to back injuries. I was like, is she back from that? And I was like, is she going to retire? Like, I was like, I don't really know. So I erased her name and then sent someone else's name. And I was like, that wasn't even, that was just me scrolling through a list and being like, oh, I like Shea
yeah,
Groom. But other than that,
she's okay.
I wasn't like I wasn't like jumping on like from the beginning of the off season being like, we're definitely getting Shea Groom. I didn't expect it at
Yeah.
all.
Well, I thought even before she posted what she did, I thought maybe she would just stay in Houston. It seemed like the place to be for her, and that team is really interesting too. But
I
what
don't
are
want
your
to make
thoughts?
assumptions, but I don't think Houston was going to re-sign her. That's kind of what I gathered.
Okay.
Um, I don't think she expected to leave Houston. Um, she just had to, go somewhere else. But she was doing. She's been very fun to watch
Yeah.
and follow on social lately. And she was doing an AMA during her travel to Chicago when she was moving last week, and someone had asked why she chose Chicago, and her response was, she said, "quote I felt extremely valued by the club and appreciated how they included my family in the process. Really excited about the direction of the new ownership, coach, and group of players. Can't wait to get started." End quote. Like I think it's important that we hear from these players that they're signing that they felt valued, um, especially a player like her who is coming off of back to back injuries that has kept her out for a while. Um, but the club has had success, like we mentioned, in trading for Mal Pugh back in 2021 and taking a chance on her. So maybe, you know, Shea can build back to even a fraction of like 2017 Shea Groom with Kansas City and provide something special on this rebuilding club. Um,
Yeah, I just
I
think she's an important person to have around in general.
Yeah, even just as a person
Yeah.
and the club, like so, the oldest player after Shea on the front line, if they do make her a forward, the website says that she is listed as a forward, but she's played midfield forever, so I just assume
Hmm.
she's going to be a midfield. So I'll change the graphic whenever like an official roster comes out, but she's the oldest. If she plays on the front line, she's the oldest player on that line. Next to the next person down would be Jill Aguilera, who we mentioned before, who's 26. But no one on that line other than Mal has more than 2 years of experience in the NWSL. So to have a 10-year veteran of the league on your club, um, just as a person, as a leader, uh, I think it will show on the field, but I think we'll also get to see a glimpse of her impact off the field throughout her time here.
Yeah. I I would be interested to see her as a forward, but I don't know. Chicago always does this, right? Listing players where they're not usually playing, right?
Yeah, they're the last ones that I can think of were Sammy Feller and Taylor Malum were midfielders for the club, and then they were listed as defenders. And now I think they're back to being listed as midfielders. I don't know. I don't remember. I wait for those like official rosters to
Yeah.
really kind of um, change things. But I think the last time that happened, it was when there wasn't a whole lot of players on the club. And so they were just trying to fill spots. So it didn't look like they had, zero in the midfield. Um, or four in the back line. So
Hmm.
I don't know, but we'll get it all sorted out. We'll see where Lauren wants to play her, where she fits. She can play both. You'll see her. Maybe you'll see her as a forward some games, midfield the other. I don't know about um, starting roles yet. Like we'll kind of figure that out as the roster fills out. But even as an off the bench player who can come in and get some header goals late in games, like I'm fine with that. I'd love to see that.
Yeah, I honestly, I feel like that to start off, she'll be more of like a sub or game changer, as some people like to say. But
You got to have them.
gotta have them. They're important too.
Yeah, the veteran leadership, I think, will, which we've been talking about for a while now, is important for the future of this club, but especially right now in this rebuild, because you've lost so many of your veteran players that the more you pick up, especially the ones who can perform and have a proven, track as players who are very good in this league, like Shea Groom, then hopefully you find success in that this year, but also for years to come.
Yeah.
As people continued to watch players leave in free agency, thinking that, the new ownership in the front office was just kind of letting players go and had nothing to sell them, thinking that, no one wanted to play for this club. Like, here's another player who wants to be here and wants to play here. And I can't stress enough, like, every single time we sign a player, when they say things like Shea said about feeling valued, it is something that you love to hear from a player coming to your club, but especially from a club that is seen as a place that people don't want to play. But if you can get players like Shea and like other players that we have signed, are going to sign, or who we're about to talk to, or talk about, I want to keep stressing that these players want to play here, and that's what we should be focusing on, is these players. Like, we don't need to kind of hold on to everything else that has been happening lately as the
Yeah.
season starts.
Your positivity reminds me of the SpongeBob meme, with like the rainbow, and it if we put your face on there and we just put positivity on there, that's what this is.
I don't
Somebody's
want to
gonna do it
become a
now.
meme.
So much positivity. But like, I would just like to say we are so back. And that's what I tweeted out when the next signing we're gonna talk about was recently signed. And you know what? I need to get flags in the background for like nationalities.
Oh
That could
yeah.
be a fun idea. Um,
Yeah.
I guess if I get like the Puerto Rican flag, El Salvador, and then I guess how many more would
Brazil,
there be? Brazil,
Bermuda,
Bermuda. Um, I
and
guess
this
there
next
would
one.
we would need one more flag to
One more
finish that
flag.
off.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
on to that signing, that I would say that it took me by surprise, but because I predicted it the day before it happened on Twitter, I will now be taking my talents to Chicago's front office
Oh
as the
boy,
newest member of the front office, their
hire me too.
manifester. The manifester. I'd like to thank coincidence, pure happenstance, for
Mhm.
giving me this new position that I found myself in. I've already promised everyone that I'd use my powers for good by predicting another star defender that will
Don't
sign with
forget
the
about me
club.
when you're famous, LT.
But of course, we're talking about Natalia Kuikka, who
Yeah.
signed a 3-year deal with the Chicago Red Stars. And I mean, who better?
What's not to love?
Who could we ask for to solidify that starting fullback role that we so desperately needed to fill, other than a 5-time player of the year for Finland, Natalia Kuikka?
Yeah, I like how the the Red Stars had to correct their tweet.
Oh, from
Yeah,
4 times. They're like, excuse me,
no, it was
5
three
times or 3
time.
times,
It
excuse
said
me,
three
5
time.
times.
Yeah, only if they had the premium version of Twitter and they were still verified, they could have
They could
fixed
have
that.
edited it.
Yeah, but no, the quote retweet is fine too. But
But let's talk about Natalia Kuikka.
winner,
I
point blank.
NWSL champion, Challenge Cup champion, Shield
Mm-hmm.
winner. Just more added leadership, veteran presence, young
Experienced
building team,
international.
experienced international, just a player who anyone would want on their club. She played fullback for Portland. She's played center back for Finland. This could lead to many options for the Red Stars to play her basically anywhere within a rotation, depending on who they sign and what else happens in the rest of the offseason. But they could play fullback in a 4-back. They could play center back in a 3-back, or right center back in a 3-back. They could just move her to center back if they sign another right back, or if one of the young right backs win that starting spot. Like, just unlimited options when it kind of comes to Natalia Kuikka. Either way, she's just a player who just covers a lot of ground regardless of the position that she's playing in. I was looking at her heat maps on SofaScore, and they're just like international and domestic. They're just like red bars down at the bottom, just like a giant red bar. Uh, and it's just ridiculous. Like, the last few years that I was looking at, her coverage area is just unreal. And I was watching a few of her matches that she played in Portland last year, just to refresh my memory on Natalia Kuikka. And the amount of times that she's in the box as a fullback is just crazy. Like, she is up front. Like, she's like playing attacking mid or forward, even though she's just running from that right back spot. I think it's just so fun to watch her play.
Yeah, you said you were shocked. I was shocked too. But world class international talent, front office is cooking for real. But I honestly, like like I said before, I know this is a rebuild, but I guess I didn't know we could get such quality talent for a rebuilding organization.
I didn't either. I had no idea. What I thought was interesting was her comments in the article that was released when she signed. Um, I'll just read the quote. She said, quote, "What drew me to Chicago is their focus on rebuilding, trust with the fans, and the culture across the organization. Laura Ricketts, Laura Ricketts' passion and vision for the club and her commitment to women's soccer is inspiring. And I couldn't be more excited to be a part of this new era. Everyone has made me feel so valued and welcomed, which has made the transition to Chicago a lot easier. It's also an honor to learn, grow, and contribute under leadership of Lauren Donaldson." There's the valued word again.
Highlight that, put asterisks around it, circle it, whatever you want to do.
But also mentioning rebuilding of trust with the fans and the culture across the organization. Like, this is a player who has played in this league for the last 4 years, and it there's no she doesn't not know what has happened within this organization. Like, she talks to players that have played for this organization. She's played against this organization. She's been in that stadium several times. Um, so to recognize the downfall of the club and not just rebuilding a team on the field, but rebuilding a fan base and a culture off the field, to then look at that club and say, I want to be a part of that, is something that I don't think I expected to hear from a free agent this year, but I'm so glad that Kuikka said it. Like, those words like grabbed my attention, and I won't forget them while watching her play, because I am more of a fan of hers because of her recognition of the process and the issues that this club has gone through. And for her to recognize that, but still want to be here is, like I said, is something that I won't forget while she's here for the next 3 years or more.
Yeah, it's important that someone like her also said it too. Um, which, especially being in this league for this long and, being an experienced international, and, even with her being in Portland and all the stuff that they've gone through, kind of like how, I mean, their stuff was crazy too. Probably not as insane as recently here, but still, um, it's just so important. And I'm glad someone finally like brought that up with like rebuilding the trust of the fans. I saw a lot of replies these past few days to Red Star's socials saying that people are going to start buying season tickets,
Yeah,
or they're going to restart their memberships, which I think is incredible. And rebuilding trust in fans means getting star signings. Star signings say they want to rebuild trust in fan. It just all comes together. Um, I just think I'm gonna say this again. It's just crazy how all this is like falling into place.
yeah.
With all this talent, and if you doubted the front office, I
We
mean,
told you not
what more
to.
could you ask for?
I mean, look at the back line now.
Yeah.
Tatum Milazzo, Sam Staub, Natalia Kuikka, maybe Hannah Anderson, maybe
Mm-hmm.
Celia Gaynor, maybe someone else. Like, maybe an international signing that we don't know about yet. But you lose these star defenders, and there was, you know, not a whole lot of trust within or with the organization that they would do anything about it. But like, I wasn't just gonna I wasn't just gonna sit here and think that they were just not going to try.
Yeah.
And they tried and they succeeded. Like, Natalia Kuikka, Sam Staub, like, what?
Yeah, I would just like to say that if the Red Stars were still under the ownership of Arnhem, I would say you could freak out like that. That would be an acceptable response to me, like, oh, you're losing all these people, kind of like when, the whole thing with Sarah Gordon, Colaprico, all those people leaving. I would say that would be acceptable. But an important thing to remember is this will be the first full year of ownership, or full season ownership, for Laura Ricketts and co.
Yeah.
So having that in the back of your mind, I would say yes, losing Davidson Kruger, Sharples, that's awful. But at the same time, there are other players in the NWSL and outside of the NWSL that could come in and fill their roles. I'm not saying they're going to do it perfectly within the first season. It takes a while to get acclimated, whatever. But all this, just remember, have faith in what's happening. And it's just the positivity meme. That's all I can think of.
Yeah,
Positivity.
this isn't us like sitting here trying to diminish anybody's feelings about the players that we have lost. Like we
Yeah.
were hurt by those losses too. It was just frustrating to watch people make jokes or worry about the club getting worse. But like all I would say is be patient, and there's not a chance that they aren't going to do anything. Now we have Mal, we have Alyssa back, we have Carrie back. We added Sam Staub, Natalia Kuikka, Shea Groom, Chardonnay Curran, 5 draftees coming into camp, returning promising young players. Like, who's joking about the Red Stars not being able to field a team now? Like, and there's even more to come. Like, we'll talk about that in a second, but we'll also break down a little bit about the roster. But like, I know that I've said it like time and time again, but like I know it's hard to watch players leave this club, but I promised you that there would be new players that would come in and you would fall in love with these players, or you're already in love with these players and now they just play for the team that you support. And I don't think anyone can sit there and look at this roster and find one player that they aren't excited to see this season. Like, if you can't find anyone, I'm very sorry about the state of your fandom with this club, but there has to be at least one player that you're excited to watch play.
Yeah. You want to make jokes? Make jokes about either Kansas City or Portland. It's their time to be made fun of, especially Portland. Well, no. Let's see. Decisions.
Well, we just got Natalia Kuikka from them.
But it's like they're, I'm trying to see who I'm gonna say equally make fun of Kansas City and Portland equally, but I digress.
Okay. But just I don't know. I want to talk more about Kuikka. I'm just very excited about her. Like, the role that she can play in this club is just fun to think about. Um she's a player that I would say makes a lot of effort plays. Like, I don't know if that's a thing said often in
I
soccer.
agree with that.
I hear it in basketball a lot, effort
Yeah.
plays. Um but like, an effort play is just like someone who does something with a level of effort that you don't see from like many players.
Body on the line type.
Yeah, like to win the ball, track it down in clearances, back passes, recovery runs when, an opponent breaks through. She's just like in a constant state of putting her head down and sprinting to do whatever she can to make sure that the ball is in her team's possession. And I love that. And I I'm very excited to watch her do it with the Red Stars crest on her chest.
I might have to change my mind on
What?
I
What?
know it's so hard. I can only get one because I'm not about to, you know,
With
spend all
every
my money.
signing comes another
She's
jersey
just
name.
that great. I
She's
mean,
great.
tied for first right now.
With Sam.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm just saying. I
Who's
have no
number
idea.
3?
Next week, it'll be different. If we, sign somebody else with, I don't know, maybe an awesome German international.
Yeah.
Hint, hint. I don't know. I don't know anything. I don't have any sources.
Last week we talked about the Jamaican connection with Lauren. We talked about the Ella Masser and assistant GM Babette Peter, their ties to Germany, and the Bundesliga side, Wolfsburg club's connection to them. Hopefully, whoever that signing is already signed with the club by the time this episode comes out, and we'll just have even more to be excited about next week. Are you as excited about signing another international as I am?
I am, but I just want to bring up North Carolina really quick
Sure.
because they signed someone from Wolfsburg, and I was like, oh, well,
Yep.
if she's going there, I would find it really weird if like someone from that team also came to the NWSL.
And that player, Roush, was the player that I expected from Wolfsburg.
Okay.
Because defender. Like I was
Yeah.
just thinking defenders. She's the best defender. That's what I was thinking. Not going to happen. Thanks,
Mm-mm.
North Carolina. But whoever we get, maybe they're better. Like I don't know. Hopefully, we're just two people talking about a player who everyone already knows the name of, and we're just
It's
clueless
not
because
Bunny Shaw.
it's
Please stop. Please.
it will be in the future though, Grant. Someday.
Not this year.
Not this year, but some year. Hopefully. We'll see. But before any like that's it. That's everything that the club did signing wise this week or last week, I should say. The club currently stands at 21 rostered players as of Sunday when we're recording this. The club has 5 draftees, a player on loan, and they announced what they didn't announce, but various sources announced 3 non-roster invitees that are going to camp. So that's a total of 29 players that are coming to camp, 30 if Mackenzie Wood's loan gets recalled sometime soon. I don't think it will, though. I'm not quite sure. But that means that there's 5 open roster spots for the final roster. How are we feeling about the whole construction of the roster right now, Grant?
Can you say my phrase, please? Because of the non-roster invitees. Say the
Do you
thing.
want me
Say
to
the
just
line.
go? Do you want me to just go through them so we can
Say
go through
say
the
the
line?
thing. Say the thing.
Go Big Ten or go home.
Yeah.
Go Big Ten or go home.
Go Big Ten or go home. I love that.
Yeah, we have so 3 non-roster invitees. Paige Weber, a forward out of Indiana, former MSU player. Go Big Ten or go home. The club needs like center forwards more than wingers,
Mhm.
where she plays, but we'll see what she can bring. They are bringing in Bridget Reekin, who is a 6-foot center back out of Washington State. That's right, a 6-foot center back.
Height FC coming soon.
I want all the tall players on this team. I don't, I don't know if we'll really have any of the non-roster invitees make the roster this season, but a 6-foot defender can show up in camp and prove something. Like I would not be mad about that at all. And then we have Aaron McKinney. Now this is an interesting one because Aaron is a goalkeeper out of Wisconsin and a Belvedere, Illinois native. Fun fact about Aaron, she's 5'5", plays goalkeeper. So that's
We're not
fun.
Height FC anymore.
She never saw game action until her 5th year of college, but don't be fooled by her. She's very athletic. I watched some of her clips. She doesn't play like she's 5'5", which is cool. That's another thing that you kind of hear a lot in sports is like playing bigger than you are.
Mhm.
And she's a player that is like that. I don't know if a 5'5" goalkeeper can or has ever solidified a role in this league in recent years. But if Aaron wants to fight for an open goalkeeper spot in Chicago, we'll see what happens. Chicago only has Alyssa rostered and Mackenzie's on loan. So they didn't draft a keeper. They don't have any keepers rostered other than Alyssa that'll be in training camp. And now there's Aaron, and then maybe other non-roster invitees will come in. We'll see when that list comes out. So, you know, uh, we'll see what happens. I don't know. A player, 5'5" goalkeeper, I have no idea, but I don't think anyone who plays behind Alyssa is going to see any time in goal this year, especially without a Challenge Cup. So, unless, there's some reason that a player needs to be in goal, it's going to be Alyssa all year. So, it may
Are they
not be
breaking
super
for the
important.
Olympics?
Yes, I think so. Because there's no Challenge
Okay.
Cup. There's just the Challenge Cup game
Mhm.
that is at the beginning of the season that kicks it off. That's it.
Community Shield type game.
Yep.
Woohoo.
Yep. Um, so like I said, 5 roster spots open for the final roster, 29 plus coming into camp, 26 can stay for the final roster. So we'll see what happens. Camp starts on Tuesday. They have medical physicals and stuff on Monday. Camp is on Tuesday when this episode comes out. So, I hope everyone's really excited to kind of see players back there for, another season. And one of those players will be the rookie and 2024 first round draft pick, Leilani Nesmith, who we've been pretty excited about here at Red Stars Report. She spoke with the Royal Gazette about preseason and mentioned that she was going to arrive in Chicago on Saturday. So she's already here, and mentioned that she'll be there at camp on Tuesday. But when I was reading this article, um, as I mentioned when we were talking about her draft night coverage and her interviews and the very um, great, like the really good statements that she had made during those interviews. She made even more in this article that I just wanted to talk about because, like, the more she says, the more I get excited about Leilani Nesmith. So here's some of the quotes. She said, "Quote: They definitely seem determined to get back to where they were in previous years and be a powerhouse in this league. So I am definitely excited to come in and try to help in any way that I possibly can to have some success in the near future." She also said, "Whatever they need me to do, whatever role I need to play to help this team, I am definitely more willing to do that." And then she also said, "In regards to personal preference, I think I am definitely finding a home in the number 6 position at holding midfield, just because it gives me the opportunity to initiate the attack rather than just be the end of it. I've certainly learned to enjoy defending a lot more." So just some of the things within those quotes that kind of stood out to me. Like, I like that she mentioned the getting back to a powerhouse in this league, like a team that people fear. Like, I want that too. I'm sure everyone in this league, community would want that as well. but also I'm very interested in her um, preference of playing the number 6 position in the holding midfield outside of the um, attack that she's usually kind of at the forefront of.
Yeah, I think it could be interesting. I honestly, what I need to do is go and look back at some of her FSU stuff. But I'm just so interested in what our midfield is going to look like. I know that we're not done signing people yet,
No,
so
it's a
I mean,
packed
just the fact
midfield.
that yeah, the fact that she gets to learn from all these incredible midfielders that we have, and Lauren Donaldson, and I think she's a future star. And I want to call it right now. I like to say stuff on here just because I can say it because I'm a certified podcast host. But I would say that she's probably gonna be in the running for Rookie of the Year.
All right,
Um,
call
I
it
think
now.
she's gonna have a decent amount of playing time this season. It's another prediction.
Okay, I like it. I can see it. She certainly has the mentality for it.
Yes.
Like, I don't think any coach will watch a player like that and watch them in training and listen to them talk and not think that they will do whatever they can to fight for time. Um, I yeah, we don't. We'll see how the roster shape, becomes, how many players they actually keep in that midfield. We'll see what formation they come out in that first match to actually see players' abilities to play in certain positions within that formation. But her energy certainly excites me, and her enthusiasm to be a part of the team. I think that the club really needs a player like that right now to kind of just get everyone pumped to be there. And I think she can do that for not just the young players on this team, but also the returning players, to just have a player like that join your club and immediately just take up that role of the person that gets everyone excited to play a match. I think is going to be very important.
Energizer Bunny. That's what I think of. Might as well get her like a drum too and everything. She's gonna be that type of person when, warming up on the sidelines, whatever, interacting with local 134. Heck, we gotta get her to play the drums too. Speaking of that, I see local 134 in my head. I was like, oh, they have all these instruments laid out and everything. Gotta get her to do that too. She is gonna be key of getting everyone locked in, ready to go for the game. I can just see it already.
Yeah.
Even though she is a rookie, like she's one of those types of people that will get you amped and ready to go.
Yeah, she was the captain at FSU, so like we know that she's a leader. Have a lot of those kind of coming in as this roster builds, and I think the more leaders you have, the better you'll be, regardless of certain certain experiences, certain skill sets. Like, obviously, you need to be very good at soccer to win championships, but if you just have a bunch of players who are very good at soccer and not people who can lead a locker room, command a locker room, and just create an environment that players are happy to be in and are excited to win games, then you're not going to win games. And I think a player like her and the rest of the players that have been coming in throughout this offseason will continue to provide that like they have for their previous years in the league and then in college or overseas. They're just like every single player they have has like won championships in college. They've won championships in the NWSL. Like everyone who's coming in is a proven winner, and I love that.
That's what we need, so we can actually win a championship. That would be nice.
I
It's
haven't
not gonna
done
happen
it.
the first year, I don't
Haven't
think.
done it yet.
But this is the road to something absolutely phenomenal. And
It's certainly the
I,
building blocks.
yes, and I just can't wait to see it all unfold.
Yeah, I really just love the way that this is all building together. Um, with the signings, with the trades, the rookies. It's fun to watch again, you know? Like there were times that it was, I wouldn't say hard to watch the team, but there were moments where it just got to the point where you're like, I'm just excited to continue to just be around people within the community, at the stadium, even though they were losing 5-0 or something. Um, but hopefully you can kind of get back to and like we can see the building blocks of getting back to the being excited to be there because of the environment, but also being excited to be there because you know they have a chance to win every game. I
Yeah.
can I can see it. I can see it happening, Grant. I can see it and I want it to become reality.
I wish that more people would, come out to games, and hopefully we'll see a change in that, because just devastating attendance numbers last year,
Yeah.
the past few years. And I mean, they had the return 2019 returning from the World Cup game. I know that was huge for them, and
Yeah.
ever since then I feel like it's just been just
When when I was at um the first match under new ownership, which was I'm pretty sure the highest attended match of the year, maybe beaten by the San Diego match. Um, but I was sitting next to a family, and they were telling me they were like, "This is our first Red Stars game because we wanted to come and watch the international players, like the players we've heard about." And they're like, and we're definitely coming back. Like that was so much fun. I'm pretty sure they lost that game. I don't remember, but like they turned to me at the end of the night after we were, watching the players sign stuff and interact with fans. And they said like, this was a very fun experience and we'll come back. And I'm like, that's so awesome to hear that even after the issues that have happened, the awful things that have happened with this club and the like destruction of the attendance to games, to know that there are still not just returning fans out there, but new fans as well. And I think you'll see a lot of that with players that come in too. Like, not people aren't just fans of clubs, but people are fans of players. And the more new players you get, like Sam Staub fans will become Red Stars fans. Natalia Kuikka fans will become Red Stars fans. Shea Groom fans will become Red Stars fans. Like, it's very important to get new faces in there on the team to get people more excited about returning to games, but also get people more excited about becoming fans of the club. And the external appearance isn't everything. Like, we know that internally there's still work to do, and hopefully Laura Ricketts and the ownership group and everyone that works at the Red Stars is ready, willing, and prepared to, like Natalia said, rebuild that trust within this fan base. And I hope they're just I hope they're ready to experience what it's like to see the Red Stars fan base like out in full force when they do the stuff that we want them to do.
Yeah, we're about to have the entire country of Finland on our side, which I think is awesome. Maybe we'll have some people holding up signs in the crowd saying they traveled how many miles or whatever in the stands, that kind of energy. Um, yeah,
The
never.
last thing that I wanted to mention tonight was the news that really surprised a lot of us in the community, as we were unaware that Sam Fisher was of Salvadoran descent, but she got called up to the El Salvador national team last week, which was so awesome for her and awesome for her career. Watching Sam get her passport, seeing her at training last week with the team was really cool to see. I hope this boosts her career to new levels and brings a confidence to her with, a chance to kind of be the star of that team. Even if she isn't getting the minutes in Chicago, like Jill, going to the Puerto Rican national team, being the co-captain of that team, even though she gets very little minutes here in Chicago, like the confidence that a national team call up can give to a player um, is something that can change their career. And I hope it does that for Sam.
Yeah, I just same thoughts here. I think it's incredible. I also had no idea.
Yeah.
Um, but I think it'll be really good experience for her. Um, regardless of playing time, just to be called up to any international team is a huge deal. So
Mhm.
for her to have that experience and maybe learning some new things that she can apply to her game, um, and of course to show off what she learns there in Chicago is just going to be great. And can't wait to see what happens with all that.
Yeah, this will also make it 6 players, I think, so far that will have caps with their national team once Sam gets capped, for El Salvador, of course. That's a lot of players to get excited about when it comes to international windows. I'm really happy about that. They may add more internationally capped players.
Maybe.
Maybe a player like Sam Staub will eventually be capped for the US, which would be cool to see. Um,
Overdue.
very overdue. We're now, like, I always would somewhat say that every now and then. I'd be like, yeah, Sam Staub's a very good player. Maybe she does deserve a national team cap. But now I'm like, I'm fully on that train now. Now that she's a
Yeah.
Red Star, I'm like, get Sam Staub in that camp. Do it.
Emma Hayes, do it.
We're calling for you, Emma. We need you to get Sam
Please.
Staub in your national team camp. Um, but yeah, I love when there's a break, in between seasons or during international windows when you can go watch international teams, and to have players on the Red Stars that are playing at the international level. I love to see it. I love to watch it. I love to support their countries. Uh, Hopefully you'll get your flags, Grant,
I'll
all
look on Amazon.
all nice and sorted.
I don't know
above
where I'm
you.
gonna put them though.
I might do it too. I think that would be fun. Just
I could
put
put it on
some.
this wall,
Yeah, I'll just put some
maybe.
like right here.
Okay,
Yeah, put them on this. Put them on your sidewall. I think that was cool.
my side wall.
I did forget. I did. Speaking of things that were in the background, I did forget that I pulled my Shea Groom 2020 almanac from Keeper Notes.
Yeah.
It's always sitting there in the background on the shelf, and I brought it up here because I was going to bring it up when we were talking about Shea, but I forgot to. But yeah, 2020 Shea Groom scored against Chicago in the Challenge Cup,
Whatever.
and
I
I'll forgive
remember
her
being
for it.
so mad. I was pissed off. I watching that game was just a roller coaster of emotions, we'll say. A lot of
We'll,
swearing involved.
we'll forgive Shea now, as
Maybe.
we will also try to forgive Kuikka for dominating us every single time
Yeah.
that we played her as well.
The year of forgiveness,
Your
we'll
forgiveness.
say. The
Come to
year
the
of
Red
forgiveness.
Stars. We'll forgive you.
Mm-hmm. Maybe.
Maybe.
I'm not saying from me. I know LT. I'm just petty like that, but
I know.
no.
I'm sure there's some players out there that I would not say that about. Maybe I'd say it publicly, but it would be a lie.
Yeah. Well, I to bring up something non-soccer related, the Las Vegas Aces Chicago Sky game with the Hamby heave, that is something that I will be forever upset about.
So
Fell
no,
to the floor
no Dearica
in
Hamby on the
disgust.
Red Stars, the sky for you.
No way.
Oh,
No way.
okay.
Just I can't. That's one good example that I have. Otherwise, no. I will forgive you. But I forgive you, Shea Groom.
I also forgive you, Shea Groom. It was a long time ago. It was a long time
Eh,
ago. It's almost 4 years ago.
if that's considered a long time for you, okay.
You will remain on my shelf over there, Shea Groom. You and
You will
your
not be on mine. I'm telling you.
celebration on the Keeper Notes Almanac, which I love. I love the Keeper Notes Almanac. I always buy them. I have more coming for the following years that I don't have yet.
Put it on display.
I will, and you'll see it if you watch us on YouTube.
See the beautiful background featuring my awesome Nebraska scarf. I gotta bring it up.
So with that, speaking of subscribing to our YouTube channel, if you want to see us and our lovely backgrounds, uh, you can subscribe to us and our show wherever you listen to your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. If you want to see everything, you can watch us on YouTube. Make sure you're following us on Red Stars Report, at Red Stars Report on social media, across all of the channels you can think of, to keep up with the latest news between episodes. Our Discord server hit 150 members last week, has already gained about a dozen more since that announcement. I really hope that you join our Discord server with the link in the description. As the season picks up, it'll be the best place to see the latest reactions to the club's moves, the match results, by the community. The next time you see us, the club will be in full preseason mode. So keep looking out for those roster updates as things change, and come back and join us next week for another Red Stars report.